What's up, guys? I'm Gooba Gooba. I'm a little clout goblin, and I'm here for my daily dose of clout. Stick around to the end to hear a little bit about what I want to do with this channel. So I've been playing Wuthering Waves since the minute it released, so I figured I'd let you know how I feel about it. Let's get into it. I'm currently a Union level 31 and Databank level 17, so I've reached kind of the state where I get to focus more on endgame. I went into Wuthering Waves with almost no knowledge of it beforehand. I tried my best to avoid anything other than basic information from the closed beta. That way I could have a completely fresh feeling about the game once I tried it myself. I play both on PC and mobile, depending on how much I feel like sitting that day. My cat absolutely ripped up my comfy chair, so for the time being I'm sitting in arguably the world's hardest and least comfortable chair, which makes playing for hours in one sitting kinda hard. That's why I also downloaded Wuthering Waves on my phone, which is great because now I get to experience it on both platforms and let you know how I feel. So, in terms of story, Wuthering Waves is the least consistent. As I'm sure anyone with Twitter knows, the beginning of the story was very slow, boring, and progressively got better. The highlights to me were meeting Scar, meeting Camilla, Act 5, and Act 6. Gion's story quest was also amazing. I was kind of worried that he would be just like a silent, edgy boy from his design. You know, he looks a lot like Zhao, and a lot of anime-style things have a bad habit of making their characters stick into certain tropes. But honestly, I ended up loving him, and I definitely would have pulled for him if it wasn't for Yinlin, who is coming out next and who I am absolutely obsessed with. By the way, after this, I'll be releasing a video where I rank how much I like the characters in Wuthering Waves based off their design and or personality, depending on if we've met them or not. But back to it, why is there such a gap between how well Crow can make the story in the beginning and the end? I think it was honestly a sacrifice. Like, they decided to throw all the necessary building blocks for world development at us as fast as they could. That way they could get to the fun stuff without making everything too long. Like, if they made each act more interesting, then it would have been maybe stretched into 7 or 8 acts. Now, this isn't an excuse. The writing was just kind of bad at the beginning. I'm not happy that they made a gamble like that, but I hope what we saw in Act 5 and 6 and in Gion's story quest is closer to the writing that we're going to see throughout the rest of the story. Currently, Crow has the benefit of the doubt for me strictly because this is the launch. You know, we have no real idea of how they're going to run the game other from what we've seen already in their transparency and their responsiveness, which has been overwhelmingly positive. I will make a follow-up video in, an update or so to kind of reevaluate the game when we have a little bit more experience into what direction Crow's going to take it. On the characters, I'm, again, happy. Each 5-star looks great and it feels unique. I think the male characters stand out a lot from other gotchas. They all look really sharp. The female characters are either cute or beautiful, and I'm hoping they add more adult-bodied female characters, but I'm still happy with the launch. Now, 2 out of 3 5-star model females characters are young girl modeled. It's not an aesthetic that I particularly like, but they have done a good job at giving Verena and Encore good personalities, other than just being like young and inexperienced. I do hope that the game releases a young boy model, and not because I'm itching for another kid, but just so it's not just girls that have the young models. You know, if it stays that way throughout the game, it feels a little bit fetishy on the devs end. Not that 100% is, but that's kind of how it comes off to me. The 4-stars feel a little bit more flat right now, which is fine because, most 4-stars on launch are a little bit less inspired in terms of design. Hopefully they get better. That doesn't mean that they're bad though. Like, Baiji is simple in design but still beautiful. A big point for the characters are the in-game models. There are a lot of games that have great character design art, but the in-game models look a little bit flat. Like in Pokemon, Typhlosion is the bestest, most badass Giga Chad to ever live. But when he went from 2D sprite to a 3D sprite, he looks a little more like a basic bitch. Now, I've seen this problem in Genshin as well, where I like both the art and the model, but they don't always look exactly the same. Like Arlecchino. She's my second favorite character in the game, but when you look at her clothes, they feel a little bit less like clothes and more just like stuff that's been painted on. There's not a lot of moving parts or texture. Obviously, part of this is that it's an open world where the characters have more restrictions, that way they can mesh better with the world. Star Rail was able to have stronger models because it was turn-based, which has allowed for a lot more freedom. Wuthering Waves has done a really good job at making sharp but more simple designs in terms of outfits and having the models look really good in the open world. I've been very happy so far. The voice acting has a lot of highs and lows. Some characters sound really flat, like the female rover, and some sound amazing, like Scar and Gian. My understanding is that some of the voice actors had more freedom with their characters than others did, and that there might be a change in direction for the voice actors going forward. So I'm hoping this area as a whole will improve and kind of even out. This is definitely something I want to come back to, especially in the next update. Like, this is something that needs to be fixed fast. in the next update, I want to come back and see how well they've implemented any changes. The music was good. I wouldn't say it was great. Everything was enjoyable and felt like it fit with what I was doing, but nothing really stuck out as particularly memorable. I think at least for boss fights, there should be a little more music that kind of establishes itself as unique to that boss. You know, I think Dvalin's theme in Genshin, the Dawn Winery in Genshin, Genshin had a couple things that really stuck out to me. Star Rail has great music. You know, I just want Wuthering Waves to kind of define their own sound. So exploring the world felt really good. Because of the ecosystem, it felt less empty than most open worlds do. Fighting echoes and absorbing them multiple times is a part of the game, so I don't just avoid them like I would for low-level mobs in other games. Now, this might be in part because I'm still leveling up my count, but for right now, I'm really happy. The colors are good. It definitely sets a more mature tone with the darker colors and debris hanging around the world, but it doesn't completely get rid of all the fun colors to where it would be boring. I think they've balanced the different vibes of the worlds really well, and I hope that that continues as they expand. In addition, the movement in the world was absolutely fantastic. Being able to dash up and down the walls was great, the grapple was smooth, everything about it makes exploring the world as easy as possible. Now to my absolute favorite part, the combat. Everything feels so smooth and less formulaic. The mobs all have really different attack patterns, which makes optimal rotations hard. The perfect dodge and the parry add a bigger skill element that makes everything feel more rewarding when you win. The bosses that you fight for level up materials not having a timer allows me to have a lot more fun. I was fighting and killing them with a level 20 Varina because I was able to dodge and parry and heal almost any time I got hit. Yeah, it took a long time, especially back then, but it was a lot more fun and gave a lot more satisfaction than I've ever gotten from a fight in a gacha game. The echo transformations are just fun. I really like it for both the depth it adds to the combat and for the enjoyment of seeing the little monster that you've caught on the field. I think it would have sucked to be able to capture echoes and not see them anywhere other than the databank menu. The combat was great. I worry about what effects strong shielders, kind of like Zhongli, might have on it. You know, if it's not balanced carefully, then they could make the depth of the combat a little bit more obsolete, because it'd be better for casual players so they don't feel defeated if they can't win, and for meta players, the opportunity cost of dodging and parrying would probably have them opt for shielders if they were in the game. This isn't a huge issue, but it's something that I hope they take the time to consider and make something that just enhances the game. Overall, Wuthering Waves has been really fun to play. I think I have 2 different ratings I would give it. As it is, I think this is an 8 out of 10 game. There are a number of bugs that have made the release rocky. The voice acting needs to be smoothed out, localization needs to be better, and the story needs to be more consistently better. My idealistic rating is a 10 out of 10. I think that everything I have to critique about the game also has instances of it being done well. They're great voice actors, later parts of the story are outstanding, Crow Games has been fairly transparent and quick to act on any bugs, with fair compensation. Because this is a launch, we don't know how Crow is going to handle the game yet, and I think from what we've seen so far, they've earned at least the benefit of the doubt to see how it goes. You know, at the end of the day, this is just a free game, so just go ahead and try it out for yourself, it costs nothing. There's no reason to treat this as a war, they're just video games. Now, Wuthering Waves is the smallest data size it'll ever be, so this is the perfect time to try it out. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. This is my first video, and I'm excited to make more. I definitely want to play Wuthering Waves, Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact as my main games on here, but I'd also love to try out other things. I think it'd be fun to jump into the competitive Pokemon format, VGC, and try and see if we can be a Pokemon master. I've only played Minecraft like once or twice when I was a kid, and I think it'd be really funny to make a hardcore world and just throw myself in and watch me lose my shit. If you ever think there's anything that would be fun for me to check out, comment it, and more likely than not, I'll check it out. I hope you guys liked Wuthering Waves as much as I did. Let me know if you didn't. But thanks for watching. Peace out.